Hello, this is a video where I'm just going to let you in on how, essentially speaking, Xenoblade Chronicles Xenoblade Chronicles 2 essentially rekindled my love of JRPGs, on consoles for a long time. So I'll go over the history and tell you how I feel about that, and then I'll let you in on what's going on this week. And this weekend, what I have planned for next week, and then we'll go on. So let's get it started. Okay then, so I guess it's time to talk about essentially how I feel about that. The big thing that's come to me about a lot of these games is this. I love JRPGs, and I've been playing them for years. I've been playing JRPGs for longer than a lot of gamers have been alive. Like, I started playing JRPGs when I was 4 years old, when I went to my cousin's house and played the original Dragon Quest. So back then it was called Dragon Warrior. But, I mean, like, I was 4 years old playing an JRPG, like, arguably the granddaddy of RPGs. Didn't know what I was doing, but I was playing it. And since then, I mean, I've been hooked to JRPGs. I love JRPGs so very much. So very, 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 very much. If there's a downside I have with JRPGs, it's this. They kind of aren't made in the old school style anymore. People make JRPGs these days because they're trying to appeal to a broader market. The thing is that RPGs, whether they be JRPGs, which JRPG used to mean just a Japanese RPG, but I think now it's its own genre because they're Western games that have very JRPG-esque mechanics. So I can't really say, well, this is a JRPG, it can't be like anything else. So basically, for me, like, I haven't played a JRPG in years. I literally have not played a JRPG in years. At least not a Squaresoft caliber JRPG in years. The last one I played was Xenoblade Chronicles X, and that was 2 years ago. And that game was trying to be a little too westernized. I mean, I liked it. I think the combat system was more in-depth than the one in Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but overall it just wasn't really all the way there. But then you have a game like Final Fantasy 15, which, I mean, that game doesn't even feel like an RPG. Like, you play it and you're like, what is this shit? This is not an RPG. Which bothers me because, like I said, I love RPGs. It's one of my favorite genres. Yeah, this game got me back into JRPGs on consoles. Because, I mean, you can find more RPGs on the 3DS and handhelds, and I guess the Vita, but I have a Vita TV, but I only got it for like one game, and that was Persona 4 Golden. And for nothing else. Like, there's like no way on God's green earth I would play any of those other games on a Vita, because it's like, really, to be perfectly honest with you, with a 3DS, between my 3DS and my PC, I have so many RPGs that I can play. I can play Western RPGs on the PC, I can play my little JRPGs on the 3DS. I have enough. Okay, I know that's hard for people to understand, but really, I have enough. But with that being said, I guess it's time to move on to my history of what brought me back to RPGs. What I've been playing before and how I feel about the genre now. After the cut. So the big thing that kind of hit me is that the king and prince of JRPGs kind of went away, along with the dukes and barons. Like, during the 6th and 5th and 4th gen, you had RPGs from Atlas, Konami, even Capcom, Atlas, Squaresoft, Enix. I mean, some really great games coming out. And then over time, that dwindled down to nothing. And I have no idea why. I don't know how it happened. Well, I mean, I know how it happened. Basically, Final Fantasy VII came out, and everyone started trying to emulate Final Fantasy VII to the detriment of their own IPs. Enix was, Squaresoft was bailed out by Enix because that fucking movie, they went all in on that shitty Final Fantasy movie, and it bombed. And they fired Hironobu Sakaguchi, who basically took his core team with him. He took the core team of like the people who make RPGs from Squaresoft with him when he left, and they formed Mistwalker Studios. But here's the thing: if Hironobu Sakaguchi and the core team that he took with him, if Square Enix was a law firm, they would be the people with their names on the door, the people with the big names on the thing. They're important, but the people who do the grunt work, the lawyers who do the field work and actually argue a lot of the cases and do the precedent and the paperwork and do the grunt work, were the people who would eventually also leave and become Monolith Soft. So basically, without the two halves together, you can see the quality of, like, Mistwalker's games are good, but they aren't like they were back in the day when the whole team was together. And Monolith Soft's games, I mean, the quality of their games are better, but you can see where their games have gotten better. Like, I don't think Xenosaga or Xenogears are that good. The stories are pretty good, but really you can see the qualitative jump in the quality of their games from the 5th gen to the 6th gen. Like, basically, like, you can see with the Baten Kaitos games and Xenoblade Chronicles, how they refined their things. And I love it because, I mean, I'm a fanboy for these types of titles. But you get what I'm saying. Like, the games aren't what they used to be overall. But to me, the core of what makes good RPGs is still there with Monolith. So, I guess in conclusion, this game got me back into gaming. If you don't, I guess I can spoil a little bit for me. This is me trying to fight Artifice Ophion, a super enemy in this game. I guess he's kind of like Bahamut from Final Fantasy, the Final Fantasy games, that hidden boss that just wipes your ass out if you don't know what you're doing. I've fought this dude like 5 times. This is the 3rd time I fought him, and he wipes me out in this fight, but I have footage of me kicking his ass and finally beating him in another fight. So I'll upload that, and you guys can see that later on. But that being said, my overall feeling with this is that I love JRPGs. I wish the genre was done. I wish that they would stop trying to make games like they would quit trying to make games like back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Like they would quit trying to make games make JRPGs appeal to a wider audience, because it's a niche product. It's never going to be, it's like, I own a small business. I'm never going to be on the same scale as, a TGI Fridays or Red Lobster or some of the bigger type of bar establishments. I'm a small fish, and I do pretty well being a small fish. Like, that's my thing. I'm not going to be the big guy. I'm okay with that. All right. And I can't throw money around like a big guy can. I can't do it. And I shouldn't, because I don't have those resources. So I hope Square Enix can take a fucking lesson and stop trying to put games out and appeal to such a wide fucking audience all the time, because the JRPG is never going to be like the days of JRPGs being like, having Final Fantasy VII legs, that was a once in a lifetime thing. It's like that Looney Tunes thing where Daffy Duck fucking goes to a talent show, and he does this stupendous trick where he drinks nitroglycerin TNT and like all types of gasoline and shit, and then blows himself up. Like Daffy Duck, Porky Pig's like, that's amazing. It's like, yeah, I know, but there's only one problem. I can only do it once. like Final Fantasy VII was an only doing it once type thing. You're not going to see those types of sales, that type of profit return on a game ever again. So stop trying to chase that. Put your budgets under control and just make quality games that appeal to a certain niche. But that's just my own personal opinion. So the Sci-Fi Power Hour has been moved up this week to 5:30 to 6:30. It's not going to be too long, and it will return to its normal time next week at 7 to 8 o'clock. It's an hour, so not too long. And BS Busters will also be at its normal time, 7 to 8:30 Sunday. Look forward to it, and peace.